Hey everybody, it's Shamika. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share my videos. I appreciate your support. So, I'm here to make a video again because I've already made one of these before, but it's okay. I don't mind doing it for you guys. I am making a video because I don't know if you guys have seen, but Kanye West now owes the IRS about $50 million, okay? And now I bet y'all going, well, damn. And that's the same thing I'm saying. Well, damn, okay? According to the story, this was going on when they were, him and Kim Kardashian were divorcing. And the IRS basically went in their office and took about 6 hours and came back with a bill letting him know that he owed $50 million. So I am going to unpack that part, but I'm also going to let you guys know what you can do. Y'all say I got a little handy dandy notes. So, first of all, let me say this. If it can take the IRS 6 hours to compute that an individual owes $50 million, how long do you think it takes for them to calculate how much you guys owe? Okay, that's my first question. My second question is, do you really think that the IRS does not know about the income that you receive? If you thought that they don't and there was a way to hide it, maybe the only way that you can hide it is putting your stuff in offshore accounts or getting paid in cash. But if there's any type of monetary transaction and it's going through anything electronic or through a business individual that is on point doing the right thing, it's going to be reported to the IRS. So you guys know I tell you all the time that starting from here on out, you guys need to make sure that you log into your IRS account so that when you file your taxes, you are inputting everything that the IRS has. And the reason I want you guys to do that is because of this situation. 6 hours and they told Kanye West that he owed $50 million, which means they already had all this documentation. All they had to do was have a couple people who ain't have nothing better to do but go in the back office and figure it out and come back and let him know. Now, it took them 6 hours to calculate $50 million. I cannot imagine what it would take for them to tell us what we owe. As a matter of fact, it takes them no time. You know why? Because they send you guys letters in the mail. They're not putting liens against you, trying to come and arrest you, or trying to come and take things from your home, which is what Kanye West was dealing with. He was dealing with getting ready to go to jail. This means that he either had a federal lien, we probably didn't know about it, but they probably had a lien against him already. Maybe he was ignoring it. I've never seen them just say, hey, you owe us. If you don't pay us right now, you're going to jail or something's going to happen. So this is something that's been brewing for a little while. So I want you guys to please pay attention. They don't go after too many wealthy folks, okay? They don't. That's just not something they do. It is more advantageous for them to come after middle class and lower income people because you do not have legal representation, because you do not have somebody like me telling you that these things can happen. And because you don't know or are not aware about it beforehand, you get caught up and stuck like this dude. Okay, now I'm not saying whether he deserves it, he doesn't deserve it. I personally don't care. What I am trying to do is educate you guys so that you know what you can do in the event that this happens to you. All right. So now that we know that the IRS is the boogeyman, they're going to go after lower and middle class people. It's going to take them no time to calculate what your debt is. Actually, I think that you guys should calculate your own taxes correctly. That means don't go to people who are going to leave off W-2s and 1099s telling you that, oh, you can add it next year. No, add it in the year that it's current, because the IRS is not going to add it to another year. And please, because this gets me brewing all the time, stop telling people you got 3 years to do your taxes. You have a year to do your taxes. Now, the IRS does allow an individual who has not filed to file up to 3 years, right? Because after 3 years, you can't file anymore. The IRS is like, we're not going to be keeping records on you and you just feel like you're going to file your taxes whenever you feel like it. So if you ain't filed in 3 years, too damn bad for you. So, but that doesn't give you the green light to say, I'm not going to do it and I'm going to wait. Why? Because you're getting charged penalties, late fees, and interest. And, you know, if the interest, penalties, and late fees aren't something that I can add to my income, I don't want it. Meaning, if you do wait and pay late, your refund will be less. Okay? And all of us want our refunds, right? Okay. So, I digress. Y'all know I get very serious about taxes, okay? So here's a couple things that you could do in the event that you find out that you owe IRS, all right? Now, I know you guys, and thank you to, I'm going to say her name, but thank you for sending me, the picture about Kanye West and the IRS, because, hey, she said, I think you might want to make a video for your followers. So here I am, okay? So thank you. You know who you are because you watch all my videos. Appreciate it. You guys probably have heard of the IRS Fresh Start program. Let me let you guys know what that is. First of all, you're going to see that on commercials all the time. Fresh Start program isn't anything that has that is just evolved. IRS may have given it a new name, but it is no different than any of the other programs that they've already had. So I'm going to go over what these programs are, okay? Believe me, they really do try to find a way to work with you to pay them. Why? Because they want their money. And if you owe me, you better believe I'm going to come up with a flexible payment plan option for you too. All right? So you could do the Fresh Start. The Fresh Start is nothing more than a new way of saying offer and compromise. An offer and compromise sounds crazy. If you ever see it on the IRS website, it's usually abbreviated OIC. But the offer and compromise is basically, we're going to use Kanye West's situation. Hey, IRS, I owe you guys $50 million. I'm going to pay my $205 application fee. I am going to cut you guys a 20% check of the debt that I owe, and include in my application all of my finances, everything that's going on. And basically with the offer and compromise, you are letting the IRS know that, hey, here's my financial situation. This is how much I can afford to give you. If you accept this, the rest of what I owe goes away. So say Kanye West says, all right, I owe you $50 million. I'm going to give y'all $30 million. The IRS may say, shoot, we're going to take that because we might not get nothing else, okay? That is an offer and compromise. Basically, you are finagling, haggling with the IRS to come up with an amount that they would accept that you would give in exchange for the debt that you owe. Now, here are a couple things you guys need to know about this offer and compromise. Do not try to lowball the IRS because they will reject it, okay? And that 20% payment that you sent, they're going to keep it, okay? Even if they deny your application, they're going to keep that money and they're going to apply it to the amount that you owe. So if you're going to do an offer and compromise, first of all, make sure that you are dealing with somebody that is scrupulous, somebody that's trustworthy, okay? Somebody that is not gonna put you in a worse situation, okay? You can call me, all right? We can talk about your situation. I talk to a lot of y'all with y'all tax problems, so holla at your girl. If you're gonna do this offer and compromise, cool. Please make sure that you are not trying to play games with the IRS. They have changed and relaxed the rules a little bit. They now try to go back only a year or up to like 3 years based off the dollar amount that you owe. So somebody like Kanye West owing that much money, they're probably gonna go back 3 years, maybe even 5 years to see the income so that they can make sure that he's not trying to lowball. Because if you've ever dealt with bankruptcy, people can move some money around, okay? People can make themselves look broke for a year or two. But when you have someone that's owing the type of money that he owes, it's not easy to just put your money off like us regular people. You can't just hide $20 and $30 million, okay? It's a little difficult. So if you're going to do that, please make sure that you really evaluate your situation, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you this. This is in the fine print. If you're going to do an offer and compromise, now, depending on how much you owe, and the IRS breaks it down into two categories. You can owe $25,000 or less, up to $50,000, or you can $50,000 to $100,000. Okay, $25,000 or less is what they would prefer. That is normally what us lower income individuals would have. Okay, so if you were to do an offer and compromise with the IRS and you have an amount that's less than $25,000, or if you just consider yourself to be low income, I wouldn't even send in the 20% payment. The IRS does allow you. Let me tell y'all, the IRS does allow you to send in your application for the offer and compromise with just your application fee and no money down. That way, if they deny, you still got your money. And if they approve, you still got your money, okay? Now, you can put down on paper how much you'd be willing to give them, but not send it in. Now, I've helped a lot of people do offering compromises. Most of these people they had some financial problems. So we did not send in any 20% payment. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm not going to send in my money not knowing if I'm going to get accepted or rejected. I'm just going to wait until y'all tell me. Now, if I was someone like Kanye West and I had all of this money, he cannot say that he's not rich. He is, okay? It's in Forbes. He can't hide it. He would have to send in something, okay? So you do need to evaluate your financial situation with the person, whoever you do this application, to make sure that it makes sense for you to send the money or not to. Now, if you're somebody like Kanye West, you should, because you need to let them know that I'm serious. And don't try to play with the IRS and go, yeah, well, I can only give y'all $1,000 a month. Not if you're somebody that you have the means. If you're someone that you don't have the means, honey, hold on to that money, because you need to eat. You need some place to live, and the IRS understands that. Okay, that's just one option. Now, under the offer and compromise, you can make partial payments. So the IRS can say, hey, we're going to take your 20%. We still reject your offer, but if you give us another $5,000 or $10,000, we will go with it, and they will let you make partial monthly payments. The time frame that you have to make your payments by depends on how much your debt is. So if you are $25K to $50,000, the IRS gives you 6 years to pay it. If you're over $50,000 up to $100,000, they give you 7 years. Now, y'all tell me how a person's supposed to make up that other $50,000 in 1 year. It just don't make sense to me. But the reason they break it down like that is because they don't like to go over 3 or 7, okay? They don't like, I've noticed that with the IRS. It's a lot of 3s and a lot of 7s, okay? So over 7 years, they're not waiting that long. So what will happen is they will tell you the minimum amount of payment that you have to make, and they're going to make it so that within 7 years, it is all paid off. Same thing if you had the 6-year plan. It's going to be the same thing, okay? That can either be a partial payment or something that they call a streamline payment. Either way, your payment plan or your payment amount is determined by the IRS in the event that they deny your offer and compromise. Now, you can give them a monthly amount that you would want to pay. You would do that in an installment agreement. So a lot of you guys, if I've done your taxes, and thank y'all, because a lot of you guys have reached out to me. If I've done your taxes virtually, okay, and I call you or I text you and say, hey, you owe, I ask you guys, hey, do you want to do an installment agreement? And the reason that we do an installment agreement, one, you do your taxes, is because we're already letting the IRS know that, hey, we know that we owe, we are prepared to pay, and this is how much we're going to pay. And what I usually tell my customers is, hey, if it's small enough that we can get it done in a year, let's do that. If not, let's try to go up to 3. But why? Because the IRS definitely wants it to be paid sooner than later. 3 years is very small. Remember, if we were to do the offer and compromise, they give us up to 6 years. So we try to do what I try to do with them. If the offer and compromise doesn't work, or it's not something that we think that would be feasible, we would just do a regular installment agreement, turn that form in with the taxes. You can do that electronically if you have tax software. The form is something that you could add at the end of preparing their taxes, and it all gets e-filed to the IRS. That is the best way to submit your installment agreement, okay? I hate when people try to send it off later. Why? Because sometimes the mail misses one another. IRS sends you something in the mail. Now you got a letter saying you owe interest and you got a late fee. But if you send it in with it, you're still going to get interest and late fees, but you will let them know that you already want to pay. And a lot of times when we do this installment agreement, we send in a payment with it. So that way they get off our back. And we just wait to see if they accept the installment agreement or not. Okay, not something you have to do, but it is something that you can do, especially if your taxes, if you only owe a little bit. I say if you owe $5,000 or less, you can look at doing an installment agreement, because that is something that you could pay off rather quickly with monthly payments. Now, that doesn't mean you got to pay, because y'all know I'm big on not paying anybody if there's a way not to pay them. Okay, well, let me speak in the term of wealthy people. Defer, defer, defer. Meaning, It's not that I don't want to pay you. I want to. I'm just going to push it over this way and pay you later, all right? So we're not going to say that we don't pay. We're just going to say that we defer our bills, all right? So we went over the offer and compromise. We went over the fresh start. The fresh start is the offer and compromise. They just tried to change the name so it didn't sound all wonky and crazy. We talked about the installment agreement. Now remember, under the offer and compromise, y'all know I jump around a lot. Under the offer and compromise, you can do a partial payment or you can do a streamlined payment. Both of those would be payments that you would make to the IRS. The only difference is the amount and the time, the length, okay? Remember, if you do an offer and compromise, the application fee is $205. If you are not sure or not comfortable with the amount that you are putting in, please do not send in your 20% payment because you ain't getting it back, no matter if it's approved or disapproved, okay? The IRS clearly says that the amount that you send in, even in the event we deny your application, it will be applied to the balance. So you ain't getting it back, okay? So if you ain't sure about it and you can't be without that money, I would wait. Another thing that you could do is a payment extension. You can request a payment extension. It gives you up to 120 days. That's 6 months. That's not a lot of time. And I would only say to do that if it's a very small amount. And I wouldn't even really request a payment extension. I would just do an installment agreement. It's basically about the same thing. And it doesn't mention anywhere that the IRS is deferring any taxes or anything. And if you already have debt with the IRS, they're not even going to give you 120 days. They're only going to give you 60 days. So what is 2 months going to do? Nothing, because it takes them 4 months to even get in touch with you to say, we accept your payment extension. So this one is one that I'm like, that's completely out, okay? You can look at it doing it, not one that I personally care to do, but that is another option for you. Now, another option is, and this one is my favorite because I do work with a lot of elderly individuals and they're on a fixed income. And if you're on a fixed income and you found out that you owe, or if you just consider yourself to be low income, and there are a lot of people, you're low income, you own disability, or you may be on welfare or public assistance, whatever it is, they do have something called uncollectible status. Now, they ain't gonna talk about that one. Why? Because they need your money, sis, okay? But uncollectible status is basically what it is. The IRS does not take any money from you. They put all of your debt on hold. And during this uncollectible status, you are accruing interest, but you are not responsible for paying. You will have to do evaluations. I'm going to say annually, but they take so long to get back with people. But they are going to look at your income to see if you made any money. Remember, they know about your money before you even get paid, okay? So you're not going to be trying to make money undercover and they're not going to know. This is the IRS guys, okay? Unless somebody paying you under the table. But with the uncollectible status, you don't have to pay as long as your financial situation deems that you are unable to pay. You got too many kids, you just lost your job, you sick, whatever it is, you will be in uncollectible status. So I know people who are been in uncollectible status for years and they do not have to pay that money. It's a debt out there, but they do not have to pay it. Now, the unfortunate part is if you happen to win the lotto, you ain't getting all your money, sis, okay? If you get any kind of a lump sum and the government finds out about it, you ain't getting all your money, all right? So please, if you choose to do the uncollectible status, buy them scratch-offs in somebody else's name because you ain't going to be able to hide the money, all right? Excuse me, we're not hiding. We are deferring paying them. But with the uncollectible status, you cannot do that, okay? Because they will find out. Now, here is your last option, and this is the option that I would choose for anyone who I consider to be low income, struggling, you going through your situation. If you think you qualify for the uncollectible status, then you do qualify for bankruptcy. I'm almost certain. Now, I'm not an attorney, okay? I'm a bankruptcy petition preparer. I help people do their bankruptcy stuff all the time, and I'm just going to let you know that what the IRS says as it pertains to bankruptcy is the debt has to be 2 years old. So if you owe from 2020 or 2021, 2023 is, it's coming, and that will be 2 years. So if you were to put your debt into a bankruptcy in 2023, which will be next year, you would not have to pay the debts that you incurred in 2021 or before, because as long as the debt is 2 years old with the IRS, you can throw it into a bankruptcy. Now, Of course, they're not going to tell y'all that either. That's very, very hush, hush, quiet, under the table. Don't keep it on the low. Nobody don't know. But the reason they do that is because they want the money. But what I love so much about it is you're basically using your Uncle Sam to keep Uncle Sam off your back. So I don't know if Uncle Sam has a twin brother or not, but I'm going to use my good old uncle to help me. And there are a lot of you guys that come to me and say, girl, I didn't even know I can do this. And when we sit and we, look at your situation and find out that you have $10,000 or more in debt, a lot of y'all are jumping on the bankruptcy train. And I don't feel that it's a bad decision at all. Wealthy people do it all the time. It's a form of protection. It's a layer of protection. I don't care about your credit, because your credit is going to rebound. And if you don't believe me, just check out my other YouTube videos. I promise that. I know from personal experience, but not just personal experience with myself, other people as well. It works, okay? So I try to give y'all the rundown of some of the different programs that the IRS has, okay? Don't let these commercials come in here and telling you the fresh start is really a fresh start. The real fresh start is the bankruptcy. Now, I'm not telling y'all to do that, but I prefer to get in a situation or a program where my now balance is zero versus that plus interest and all those other fees. Okay, we already got enough bills to pay. So you guys, if you end up having a debt, choose. Do you want to do the fresh start, aka offering compromise? If you do that, do you want to do a streamline? Do you want to do a payment plan? Okay. Do you want to do a payment extension? Do you want to do an installment agreement? Do you want to do the uncollectible status? Or would you rather just file bankruptcy? Okay. So those are your options. I hope I helped somebody. I hope I blessed you guys with some good and new information. And don't be like Kanye West behind owing all that damn money. Okay. You don't get the $50 million in just no 6 hours. Somebody's been playing. And you know what he's been doing? Defer, defer, defer. But what he did not think was, he probably didn't check up on to make sure the person that was doing his taxes were doing it correctly, so that they now couldn't come back and say that he owes them. And one thing you guys do not want is the IRS to put a lien on you. If your IRS puts a lien on you, you are guaranteed to never receive any money, because they're going to take it first, okay? They're going to take it. I had someone that called me and said, girl, I just got a check for $8,000 and it hit my bank and it's gone. They took it. If they put a lien on your assets, baby, they are taking your stuff. That means any thing that they can tell the judge that, hey, I want first dibs to get, paid back, they're going to win. Why? They're the government. Okay, so hope y'all learned something. I'll talk to you guys soon. And again, if you are in this situation, reach out. There's nothing wrong with bouncing your ideas off of somebody else that is experienced, that can tell you, or at least give you an idea of what you should do or where you should go. I'm not here to tell anybody anything, but I am here to point you in the right direction, because too many of us are lost in the sauce. And then this is why we get ran over. And I'm just trying to help prevent that for you guys. All right. So y'all have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye.